Hello, my name is Blake Guerra, and my partner's name is Ryan Leppard, and we did our project on American Psycho. So, as I've said, for our movie, we chose American Psycho, a film which is adapted by the novel originally written by Bret Easton Ellis. The film follows the life and actions of Patrick Bateman, who's an investment banker. Bateman and his peers work in a very competitive environment, and they constantly feel the need to compete against each other. Because of this, Bateman feels an intense need to achieve a higher social standing compared to his peers. And this environment, coupled with Bateman's disorder, causes him to become more impulsive and violent as the film progresses, which eventually leads to an implosion. And we will see why the issues listed above correlate to Bateman's condition, and as well as how his environment makes things more severe.
Patrick Bateman suffers from a severe case of antisocial personality disorder. Ted Bundy and Charles Manson were also affected by this disorder. People who suffer from ASPD are prone to violence, frequent lying, and manipulation. Recently, ASPD has been linked to individuals who are egocentric and who lack empathy and has become closely linked to the term psychopath. Bateman works at an investment firm in Manhattan during the 1980s. His firm, called Pierce and Pierce, is a highly competitive, masculine-dominated environment where the more calculated and callous you are, the higher you will climb. ASPD is characterized by this cold, calculated nature, and the culture in the environment where Bateman works lets him believe that this attitude is normal.
By far, the most alarming and obvious pieces of evidence that Bateman is afflicted by ASPD are the numerous acts of murder and violence. Bateman kills many people throughout the course of this film, and then seems to go about his life with no remorse. These traits are telltale signs of someone who's afflicted by ASPD. Patrick Bateman brutally murders Paul Allen, his co-worker, with an axe and calls him a bastard in the process. And then immediately following this scene, Bateman smokes a cigar on his couch, still soaked in Paul Allen's blood, as if everything is normal. And you can see Patrick Bateman smoking a cigar over Paul Allen's body. And what drove Patrick Bateman to kill Paul Allen is most likely Patrick Bateman's ego. Paul Allen was killed by Bateman because he made more money, had a better business card according to his peers, and could get a reservation at the nicest restaurant in town. These factors drove Bateman to be violent because he felt inferior to Allen. Patrick Bateman finds his sense of self-worth through his appearance, social status, and wealth, which is something that is common of those who are diagnosed with ASPD. Bateman clearly has low self-esteem, and he felt belittled by Allen, and so eventually that led him to snap and resulted in the act of violence. And here you can see Paul Allen's business card compared to Patrick Bateman's. They're essentially the same, but that little bit better that Allen had on Bateman drove him to insanity.
Surprisingly, Bateman is relatively responsible. Most diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder are unable to keep a steady job. Bateman, on the other hand, has built a successful career even at a young age and seems to complete the majority of his work. His need to have a successful career outweighs any of his more destructive habits. Patrick Bateman would undoubtedly be considered to have a severe case of antisocial personality disorder and would be classified as psychopathic. He needs to be subjected to intensive therapy and medication. Quetiapine, an antipsychotic drug, was given to several aggressive patients who were diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder. All of these patients showed signs of reduced aggression and irritability. This treatment is relatively ethical. Cognitive behavioral therapy could also be used to target Bateman's less desired habits and urges. This treatment, while it is shown to be less effective than medication, is highly ethical.
So, in thinking more broadly, Patrick Bateman should be looked at as an incredibly severe and abnormal case of antisocial personality disorder. The portrayal of ASPD in American Psycho is done so in a way that takes the accurate and true symptoms of ASPD and multiplies them in a way that is fit for Hollywood. So this film might put a skewed vision in the heads of some because of the over-exaggerated traits, and it might cause a fear of those who are diagnosed with ASPD within the general public. However, the film does make it abundantly clear that ASPD and mental disorders are nothing to be taken lightly. And that is all. Thank you so much for listening to our project.